Okay guys, in this video I'm going to talk about the top 10 RC car tools you really must own. Now this is kind of a two-way thing, as my top 10 might not be the same as your top 10, so I would like people's comments and suggestions in the comment section below the video. Anyway, let's get straight down to it. Okay guys, well at number 1 in my top 10 RC car tools that you really must own is actually a vise. This is an absolute godsend to me from day to day. I can't think a single day goes past when I'm working on an RC car that I don't use this in some form or another. You can clamp things in it to grind them, you can clamp things in it to cut them, you can use it for holding connectors while you solder wires onto them, etc. It is the one tool I simply could not live with. And number 2 out of my top 10 RC car tools you really must own, guys, has to be my Dremel. I think I use this more than any other tool. I bought the vise first of all, as quite a lot of the jobs I do with this involve me clamping things in the said vise. Otherwise this would have been my number 1 tool. You can fit various different drill bits to it, polishing discs, grinding discs, and the one that I found the most useful of is the cutting disc, like the one that's attached to the top of this. The cutting disc, you can use it to cut through plastic, grind away metal, cut screws shorter on there. But one of the key things that I like about this tool, guys, say this hex say stripped out and we couldn't undo it any other way, what you can do is, goodness me, you're going to say, what Richie, cut a slot through here, going into the metal slightly, yeah for sure, but then you can set a flat-bedded screwdriver, turning this around and releasing it. So the Dremel really is my go-to tool for every little eventuality. You want to make something fit, you can guarantee the Dremel with the cutting disc on is the tool for the job. Just remember guys, if you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe. Number 3 in my must-have tools is a decent set of hex drivers, guys. I used to buy cheap ones and think they were okay, but when you go out and buy a decent set like these with the hardened steel tips on them, it's like the difference is like night from day when it comes to getting things undone with them. So bite the bullet and buy a decent set. Decent sets do tend to be expensive. Number 4 on tools you really must own, a decent RC car wheel hex set. I don't mean one like this, the standard one that comes with cars. What I mean is one that will fit inside monster truck tyres like that, something like this, where you can switch on this one, you can switch between 5 and 7mm as easy as that. Simply twist the grip, let that out, and it changes the thing over. Yours for about 20 bucks on there, but definitely one of my go-to tools is a decent wheel hex. Speaking of which, that hex driver takes me on to tool number 5 that I really can't do without, which is my cordless drill. That's because I've converted one of those wheel wrenches to fit inside my cordless drill, so I can pop that in there and undo wheels at very high speed using the cordless drill. Speaking of which, well, I've got a screwdriver bit in here, and it's also my go-to tool because I've got little hex bits in here as well. So while you'll see me using those hex drivers in a lot of my videos, in my own time I use the cordless drill for doing a lot of the work. So get one of these, get a decent set of bits, and you will save yourself a ton of time. Number 6 in my top 10 RC car tools you really must own is a soldering iron, and get yourself a decent one with a high wattage. I've been making these connectors up for my cars, which are for some of the higher current stuff on here. I did these thick brass connectors, and that takes me straight back to that vise I showed you at the beginning. You can put the connectors in the vise where they ain't moving anywhere while you solder them in place. I say get a decent soldering iron, guys. I first of all had one of those like thin little stick ones about 60 watts. When it comes to these heavy duty connectors, simply doesn't put enough heat in there to enable you to do the job. Motors, they can get hot. These leads can pop loose if your motor gets very, very hot. Likewise, you may find yourself with a wide variety of leads like this that you might need to make up over a period of time. So, number 6, buy a decent soldering gun. And number 7 would be get a decent set of needle nose pliers. You can use them for everything from picking out screws from a pot, which can be hard to do if you've got thumbs and fingers the size of mine, picking out the right size body clips, etc, etc. They really do come into their own. You can hold wires in place while you're soldering them, so get a decent pair. The thinner the better to my mind. And point number 8, magnetic screwdriver. Why do you need a magnetic screwdriver, Richie? When you've gone and fished one of these screws out with the said needle nose pliers, it's then very handy if you can hang the screw from the screwdriver, saving you the need for a third hand when putting the screw in said hole. And number 9 would be a heat gun, guys. I've only just got one of these, but it is absolutely vital for getting the correct fit of the heat shrink if you're making up connectors like these. You can also use it if with like on the armours. Some of the armours, the screws need a lot of heat because they use red Loctite on them to get that off. So if you can use it to heat the screws under the chassis, not the plastic, not only plastic, mind you, in order to get them loose. So heat gun is at number 9 on my list. And number 10 of my 10 RC car tools you really must own. Get a magnifying glass, guys, like this. That little pot of screws I have, sometimes when I can't see without my reading glasses on, I can put it over on there. Then I can use said needle nose pliers, fish out just the screw that I'm looking for. Likewise, when you're using that soldering gun for soldering things, you can get it over there so you can pull up a lot of detail. So that's number 10 on my list of 10 RC car tools you really must own. Okay guys, hope that list of my 10 RC car tools you really must own made sense. As I say, any that I've forgotten that you think are higher up in the list or should be lower down on the list or included in the list, have your say in the comments section below the video. Anyway guys, hope you found that useful. I do think if you invest in those tools, maybe not all at once, but certainly one at a time, the big one, the Vice, absolute godsend to my RC car life from day to day. Anyway guys, hope you found this video useful. If you did, by all means share with friends and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Well, thumbs up if you like this video guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell. And why not buy your RC gear where I get mine then at JJ Customs in San Jose. Do check them out in person or online on their website.